I have access to every chef that you can imagine today, every chef. The idea of the club was to give people the opportunity to meet the chefs that I knew.
Robert Walton MBE, President of the Restaurant Association, founder of the Nth Degree Fine Dining Club, and the godfather of hospitality.
I opened my first restaurant when I was 24, my first hotel at 28, my next hotel at 33, and I stayed there for 25 years. And that was the start of the club. My whole world is hospitality. I'm still the president of the Restaurant Association, but the key for hospitality is being hospitable. I mean, it's pretty simple, really. I got to know a really good friend of mine called Richard Shepherd. Richard Shepherd was one of the owners of Langan's Brasserie. So Langan's, there was Michael Caine, Richard Shepherd and Peter Langan. He became my mentor. Langan's in the 90s was Nobu, Gordon Ramsay, Zuma, put them all together, and this was Langan's. You could not get in. The most celebrity haunt you'll ever see in London.
Without the risk, you wouldn't be where you are today.
Of course not. You are now thinking on your feet. Business is tough to run. Suddenly, Michelin said, well, will you do the Michelin Revelation, the event that reveals all the new Michelin stars? We got the deal, and then COVID happened. What's going to happen? Because I have no control now at all. I was in the Cayman Islands, and I'd been feeling a bit weird. Anyway, I got back, and I got diagnosed with cancer, so I couldn't then go back out. I went into immediate treatment.
Oh my God.
I had a most amazing email from Michael Douglas, and he had tongue cancer as well. He said, the most important advice I can give you when you're ill is...
I'm Sam Vanderpump, born into a family of entrepreneurs. However, I'm forging my own path, running a foreign exchange brokerage, working with some of the biggest global brands. Each week, I sit down with the power players, innovators, and legacy builders in my network to uncover the bold moves, breakthrough moments, and behind-the-scenes grits that turn big ideas into filthy rich realities. Welcome to Filthy Rich, the podcast where money meets meaning and success leaves a story. This week, I'm sitting down with a man who's cooked for royalty, advised a nation, built empires out of soufflés, and still found time to own an actual manor house. And brace yourselves, a man so influential that the Cayman Islands even asked him for advice. Welcome to Filthy Rich, Robert Walton MBE, or as his wife likes to call him, Bobby Dazzler. Thank you for joining us, Bob. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How nice to be here.
So let's start off. Why does your wife call you Bobby Dazzler?
Why does she call me Bobby Dazzler? So I like to be smart. And if you go back in time, you could bowl a Bobby Dazzler, or you could have a beautiful antique, and you might hear somebody say, that's a lovely Bobby Dazzler. And so it's a term of endearment, but I think I just like to be smart. So do I shine like a Bobby Dazzler, Sam? You know me.
Yeah, well, I have to agree. Definitely best dressed competition goes to you so far on this podcast.
Okay,
so
well, that's okay.
You've definitely won that there. And actually, I did say to my fiance, if I dress like you ever, I'm proud of myself.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, thank you.
Obviously, I want to go through your life and want to hear about how you've ended up where you are today. But let's go back to the beginning. Where did it all start? What was your first job?
The reason I got into hospitality was that I was brought up in a pub, because actually I'm a very good chef now, and that's how my whole business has worked. But I couldn't cook anything, and so and my parents were terrible cooks, terrible cooks. So we used to go on holiday many years ago, and we used to go down to Swanage. I used to love Swanage. And we went to this beautiful hotel, and the manager of the hotel was quite young, and I was about 16 or something at the time. And he was sort of swanning around, and I thought, God, he looks like a good job. And I got to know him, and I did a bit of help within because I was in a pub. And I was always very sociable, because my parents brought me up to always say good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to the customers. So I always knew the time. And I could always speak to people. So I was speaking to people there, and this chap, I can't remember his name, Graham or somebody, anyway, it doesn't really matter. He said, do you want to come on my speedboat? I thought, well, yeah, that sounds all right. So he's now running around. So I got into this Jag or something at the time, and we took the speedboat down to the coast, and we went zooming around. And I came back. I said, I don't know what, Mum, how I do this, but this sounds to me like the job I want to do. So we then wrote off to different hotels under a training management course. That was how it all went. And so I started. Came to London, and I started very early. And then the best thing for me, because it was a super culture shock for me, because I was brought up in Sonny Common, and then it was just in Berkshire. And to suddenly come to London was quite something. To be here, to be in a giant hotel. So I fortunately very quickly went to college at Ealing College, which then became Thames Valley University, which then became the University of West London, of which I have a Master of Science degree from there, which is an honourable Master of Science degree, which is very nice. And suddenly I'm with people my own age, and I'm with a real mixture of guys, and I have to learn to cook. That's the first bit of my life. So, because to be on any trainee management scheme, they wanted me to understand the kitchen. And so that's how it all started.
So now you've got a Bachelor of Science.
I've got a Master of Science.
Master of Science, sorry, apologies.
I've got a doctorate from India.
Doctorate as well. And how did that then launch you into, how did you end up starting the Members Club, would you say? How did it really transition along the lines of hospitality? I mean, I know it's a long journey.
Well, that's a long journey. So if you take that model, if you take the fact that I liked the idea of being with people, and I liked the idea of being the manager of the hotel, I then learned to cook very well. I then you go around the country, and I opened my first restaurant when I was 24. And I then learned how to run a business, because I had to cook for money, I call it, because I had to pay my mortgage, and I had to pay, and I was already married at this age, and children. I mean, it's all, anyway, we won't go into all my personal life. Not unless you want to. It's crazy. You won't even believe it, honestly. But anyway. So I bought my first restaurant at 24. I sold it at 27. I bought my first hotel at 28. That was not a good move, because I then sold shares, and so that ended in I got some money out, but not as much as I should have. I then bought my next hotel at 33, and I stayed there for 25 years. And that was the start of the club, because I then became part of the Restaurant Association. They wanted somebody from the country. They wanted somebody outside London. Now I'm in Reading, for goodness sake, or just south of Reading. So it's not exactly, where I live now in Devon. But they wanted somebody that wasn't based in London. And so they invited me on in 1992. So at this point, I've just started my hotel. And it was really good. And so I suddenly got back into London, and I got to know a really good friend of mine called Richard Shepherd. Richard Shepherd was one of the owners of Langan's Brasserie. So Langan's, there was Michael Caine, Richard Shepherd, and Peter Langan. And he became my mentor, and he was brilliant. So Langan's in the 90s was Nobu, Gordon Ramsay, Zuma, Gymkhana, put them all together, and this was Langan's. You could not get in, ever, ever, ever get in. And it was about the most celebrity haunt you'll ever see in London. So to have this guy with me, and then he put his name on my hotel. So my hotel was called Trunkwell House. It then became Langan's in the country. So, and then we had a marquee up that we used to use, which is called Langan's. So I've sort of skipped around a little bit here, but it takes you to where I got to the Nth Degree, because I then got to know all the chefs. Because if you knew Richard Shepherd, you knew Michel Roux, you knew Raymond Blanc, you knew Anton Edelman, you knew Pierre Kaufmann, you knew Jason, you knew everybody. Because if I had Richard Shepherd, a bit like if you had Gordon Ramsay today, you have a lot of people that, okay, well, if you like. So
through this person, you had access to everyone else.
Access to every chef. And I have access to every chef that you can imagine today, every chef. And so the club, the idea of the club, the Nth Degree Club, was to give people the opportunity to meet the chefs that I knew. So that was the concept. So we would have a private dining event, and we would go and see Jason, or we'd go and see Heston, and they would go, "Hi, Bobby, how's it going?"
Wow.
And I would say, "Great." And I said, "Well, look, these are some of my members. They go, great, well, I'm so pleased you're here. I'm going to do this for you. And that's how it all started.
So it essentially started, you started as a chef, then you ended up with your own restaurant, and then you ended up with a hotel, and pubs, and then the hotel got adopted into the Langhams, and then you realised what was so amazing for you was access to all these fantastic chefs, and you thought, hold on a second, I want to do this for other people. I want to give them access to all these fantastic chefs.
Yeah.
And at the same time you went, this is what I want to do. Did you think that that was going to, I mean, the Nth Degree, as we both know, is a very, very successful members club, right? You know, and private members club where you have access to all these Michelin star chefs. Did you know at that point when you were giving people access to the chefs that it was going to build into the empire it kind of is today, you know, with Young Chef, Young Waiter, the Michelin Guide? Did you have that foresight? Or
so everything is linked. So my whole world is hospitality. You know, I'm still the president of the Restaurant Association. I work with Michelin. Everything is linked to hospitality. Everything starts with me cooking making a dish of some description, you know, because it's all food and beverage, and then it's all hospitality. And, you know, the key for hospitality is being hospitable. I mean, it's pretty simple, really. Sometimes when you go to a restaurant, you think, why are they not smiling? You know, why do they look so surly? Why, you know, and if you really can't smile when you're serving somebody, then the business is not for you, you know, because that's the key. So it just all is interlinked. So when if you like, the more interconnected I became, or connected I became, the more the opportunities arose. So suddenly Michelin said, well, will you do the event called the Michelin Revelation? The Michelin Revelation is the event that reveals all the new Michelin stars, which was really stressful because we did it, we got the deal, and then COVID happened. So we had to do it on Zooms. So Davina McCall did the show for us, and she was brilliant, and we did it in a massive studio just down south of London. But we couldn't have any chefs there. So it was all on Zoom. So we were announcing whether they've got 1, 2, or 3 Michelin stars over Zoom, which was quite interesting. I mean, it was great in one respect, because you've got this super professional lady doing the whole story. There's me sitting out the back thinking, oh my God, you know, what's going to happen? Because I have no control now at all, which is really unlike me because I love control. And yet she was fantastic. And then you have the emotion, but the emotion on screen as opposed to the emotion in person.
And how was it that you actually became into the Michelin Guide? Because obviously you had access with the members club, opportunity arose, and then all of a sudden you are involved in the Michelin Guide, handing out Michelin stars to these these restaurateurs, these the chefs that you so wanted to even
Well,
eat
Michelin
with.
saw what I was doing, so I got to know Michelin, and then I assisted brands to get into Michelin, because Michelin wanted me to help raise sponsorship as well for them, because it's all sponsorship, everything's sponsorship. So I helped Michelin do that, and at the same time I was creating the event. Now, the event originally, the plan for the event was the most amazing, spectacular event that I would have ever run, because it was going to be at the Camden Roundhouse, which is probably one of the most iconic events. And because Gary Rhodes, bless him, who's passed away now, was the first rock star chef, my idea was to have a Michelin event that looked like a Brit Awards. So I would have 400 VIPs and chefs sitting in the middle, and I would have the audience around the outside, and then I would have a rock band to start. And at this point, I was talking to Michelin. There was a route for 2 rock bands at this point, who both, I have no idea whether they still have, but they both had connections with hospitality. One was U2 and one was Coldplay. Now, I know it sounds bonkers, but that was the vision. I would have Davina McCall announcing me. I would then come in and I would say, it's great to get you all here. We can't wait to announce the Michelin stars and who are going to get 1 and 2 and 3. But more important than that, we're going to start this with a party. This is a party. And on the table, there was going to be caviar and Dom Perignon, and it was just going to be absolutely the best. And they do this in 32 countries, so this was going to be the absolute knockout. And I was going to say, and now before we go any further, I want to introduce you to the band, which is Coldplay, say, I don't know. And everyone would have gone bonkers. That was how it was going to be. But anyway, it never happened. But that was the plan, because then COVID happened, and so we had to can it.
And then it all happens over Zoom. But I mean,
And then it all happened over Zoom. So we didn't have a rock band. We did have Davina. We did have a fabulous studio with a huge, huge screen. So it was great.
What about next year?
Well, of course, it's all changed now. Like everything, COVID changed everything, and everybody changed. So the whole concept has changed. So one day, who knows? Look, it's still there. I can do it. Whether I can get the bands again or get U2 again. But U2 own quite a few pubs, I think, at that point in their life. I don't know whether they do now. Who knows?
Out of all the chefs that you've met, spoken to, who's your favourite?
Oh my God. My God. Well, Richard Shepherd would be my favourite chef, if you like, if you want to put favourite. Only because he was just, I adored him. He was not the easiest guy. We played a lot of golf together. We got to know everyone. But he would, when I was ill, I had cancer, as you know, a few years ago. He would call me every day. I mean, he was just the most generous man, tough, old style chef and operator. But yeah, I mean, he was. And then he introduced me to so many people. So I don't have a favorite chef. I have favorite restaurants, but I don't have favorite chef. I mean, if I have a favorite restaurant, is that chef my favorite? That's a good question. But because I know so many, and because I work with so many.
So you would say mentor vibes would be Richard Shepherd.
Well, Richard was without him, I probably wouldn't have been the chairman of the Restaurant Association. I probably wouldn't have got an MBE. Because all of those doors he opened. And because I had him, it's like me coming here and I'll say, I'll bring Gordon Ramsay with me. And you go, serious? Wow. Can you bring Gordon Ramsay? At that time, Gordon Ramsay was working with Marco and was a young chef. But I had Shep. I had the main guy.
Yeah.
And so, he had everybody. So if I wanted to play golf, or I did play golf with Michel Roux or the Roux or wherever I wanted, it was a wonderful time. And he looked after me, and I hope I looked after him.
And you mentioned it already. I mean, along this journey of building, this hospitality empire, which you've now built, I was going to ask, as I ask most guests, what's the biggest challenge you face? But I think I know the answer to that, right? Was it your mouth cancer?
Tongue cancer was
tongue cancer.
That was a bit of a challenge.
How did you deal with that? And how did that hit you? How did it knock you back from business? And how did you rebound?
I was in the Cayman Islands on a pop-up tour with Claire Smith. Claire Smith, if you ask about one of my favorite restaurants, Core, C-O-R-E, is probably one of my favorite restaurants. I think it's just incredible. So I was in the Cayman Islands with Claire, and we were doing a recce for a week that she was going to do in the Cayman Islands. And I'd been feeling a bit weird. And I was with Claire when she said to me, what do you think of this name? I've left Gordon Ramsay, because she was with Gordon Ramsay for 9 years at Hospital Road. She held with Gordon Ramsay, and the thing about Gordon Ramsay, whether you like his programs or not, there's two sides of Gordon Ramsay. There's, Hell's Kitchen and all the other stuff. And then there's his incredible restaurant in Hospital Road with 3 Michelin stars, which he's had for God knows how many years now. But Claire was the chef. She held those stars for him, if you like. So when she opened up her restaurant, she said, I'm thinking of calling it Core. I was sitting in a restaurant in the Cayman Islands. And I said, well, that's a great name. You're like, Core? Is it Core or Apple Core or Core? Or what, anyway. So, and now she's got Core, she's got Encore. She's now just about to open in Admiralty Arch. I mean, she is an unbelievable chef. But I was with her, and I kept having these crazy, even when I look at the pictures of me now at that time, I wasn't well. I didn't know I wasn't well, but I know I just couldn't swallow very well. And it wasn't a swallow that was like a sore throat in a flu. It was a swallow that was just annoying, but it was okay. Anyway, cut a long story short, I got back and I got diagnosed with cancer. So I couldn't then go back out with Claire, but she went out and did the whole trip and did the whole event herself. But I went into immediate treatment. So that is really difficult because you're in a 6-week process now. Well, first of all, you're in a 7-week process. The first week is blood tests and getting tubes fitted to your stomach because you're not going to be able to eat.
Jesus.
And then
for a restaurateur, a chef.
Yeah.
To have that.
Yeah. So I'm now, and then you're into 6 bouts. So it's a 6-week course, 30 bouts of radiation, 6 bouts of chemotherapy in 6 weeks. But I used that time and I decided that this would be my job. So I would go to London from where I live, which was in Berkshire, every day for 5 days. Which I had to, so I came to Harley Street every day for 5 days, Monday to Friday, for my treatment, where your head is screwed to a table, literally, and you have this radiation because it has been exactly the right spot.
Your head's screwed to a table.
So nothing grows here. So my beard, which is fabulous,
fantastic,
but nothing grows here. So all the treatment was around here.
Oh my God!
So nothing grows there. And then what happens is the whole treatment. So now my voice gets a bit croaky because it gets very dry. You at the end of the 6 weeks, you have no taste. You can't eat. You have no saliva. You have nothing. So everything just gets burnt. They're burning out a tumor down here. And if I show you pictures, which I'm more than happy, to show. I mean, I don't want to see them now, but then you're out of it. Basically, you're just on morphine for weeks.
And how do you rebound from this?
Well, you have to learn. So you have to. My friend in America, who introduced me to another amazing chef, Thomas Keller, who is again one of my best friends, but probably one of the best chefs in the world, said. And I was really down, of course, because I wasn't eating. I had this horrible load of liquid here in my chin. So my chin was down here somewhere because my lymph nodes weren't working. So nothing works. So everything gets killed. So once it gets killed, you have to start again. Everything has to start again. So your taste buds have to come back. You have to learn to eat again, really, and swallow again. And you have to speak because I haven't been speaking.
Yeah.
So everything starts all over again. And my friend said, how lucky are you with the knowledge you have to learn to taste again, to experience food again. Wow. And you'll learn it and you'll taste in a different way. So everything that I eat today is different to what it was because my taste buds completely changed.
That's half glass full mentality, isn't
totally.
it?
So once I got that, so I started eating everything that I could.
To retry it all again.
Well, I couldn't eat much, and I've never eaten much. So I lost quite a lot of weight through that whole process.
I know. I mean, if you look at the pictures of you before and after, it's incredible.
But I like my weight now.
Yeah.
I'm much happier with this weight. I'm much happier with
it's
my
funny
look.
You say that because I went through, obviously, sepsis just at the end of last year, and I lost 15 kilos. And
wow.
I was, but I don't think I was fat, but I lost 15 kilos. But after I was ill, I turned around and I went, I like how chiseled I am now. And I'm half glass full as well.
Yeah.
What would you say is the biggest risk that you've ever taken that's, got you to where you are today?
Oh, my God.
Lots. There's lots. Yeah. But is there anything that stands out?
I mean, just now we just bought this incredible location down in Devon. It was vastly more the work than I thought it would be.
This is Langdon Court.
Langdon Court, yeah. But
which is your manor house.
Yeah, but vastly more work. But, it's another experience in life, one that I probably won't want to do again. but then I've probably said that a few other times in life. You know, I've bought and sold restaurants. I've had pubs. I've had different locations.
But would you say without the risk, you wouldn't be where you are today?
Oh, of course not.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you can't. There's no
No risk, no reward.
Well, there's no safe business route, is there? I mean, if it was that easy, then we'd all do it, wouldn't we? You know, I mean, there is no safe business. I mean, you've been in online Bitcoin and stuff or whatever that was, you know,
crypto. Yeah,
I mean,
all
crypto,
kinds.
you know, and so. I'm sure where people have made lots, I'm sure people have lost lots.
Yeah.
I'm sure. I don't understand it, so I'd love to know more about it. I'd love to understand it, but I don't understand it, so I don't go anywhere near it because I just wouldn't know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have a clue what I'm doing, and I would be like, so easily led down the wrong path, possibly. But I always because everything I do. Langdon Court is a hotel because everything I do is around hospitality. I'm pretty comfortable with the risk I'm about to take. I mean, it's a risk going on TV today, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've only got to go and say something crazy. Live TV.
You're taking a risk.
For 15 minutes, you are now thinking on your feet today because you cannot say one thing. Yeah. I even today talking about strawberries and saying the British are the best. I also said, well, you can get strawberries from elsewhere, of course.
Just being inclusive.
But they aren't as good as our strawberries at this time of year because we have to be seasonal because food is all about being seasonal because I'm an absolute, I'm passionate about food, about produce and about seasonal food in this country. And so, I only want to eat strawberries in June and July and the summer here in England. I only want to have beautiful vegetables, obviously vegetables come all the time of the year, but I want a certain time, if I want lamb, or I want Jersey rolls, I want these things at the right time and I want to have seasons with my food. I want to have stews in the winter. I want to have beautiful salads in the summer.
Spoken like a true restaurateur.
There you are.
This episode is sponsored by one of my businesses, Vanderpump FX. If you're a business sending or receiving money from abroad, contact us. Most banks and providers overcharge you on the exchange rates. At Vanderpump FX, we can help businesses and individuals like you save on every transaction. With savings up to 5% compared to most banks. We make sure your money stays where it belongs, in your pockets, not the bank's. One thing I will ask you, as you go through your life, what would you say is the biggest achievement you have, the biggest honour?
Yeah, well, it's got to be my MBE, hasn't it? It's got to be. I mean,
How do you get an MBE,
How
by the
do you
way?
get an MBE?
Can you adopt me, by the way? I want to get married in St. Paul's.
Well, so that helps if you get an MBE, but you need an MBE.
So how did you get your MBE? And
So
how did that
you're
happen?
nominated to start with. So bearing in mind, I'd been on the Restaurant Association committee and I was about to become chairman. I was vice chairman. I'd been on there. So I got it 2007. I got it in 2007. So New Year's Honours, 2008.
So it was the Queen who gave you the MBE.
Queen, yeah. So it was, and bizarrely, my wife had called me Bobby Dazzler, right? Donnie called me Bobby Dazzler. And in our local paper, it was honours for Bobby Dazzler in our local paper. But it was nothing to do with my wife. So it was quite amusing. And through COVID, I did a whole load of cooking with Dazzler. There was a whole load. I did 250 cooking videos where I actually found my love for food again. And I actually found my love for cooking again. And I love cooking. And if I could, and I don't think it'll ever happen if I ever retire, because I don't think it's going to happen somehow. But at some point, I want to just cook. And I want to charge for it, as in I want to cook, but I want to cook not for money. Somebody's got to pay for it somewhere, but I need to cook just because I love cooking. And I don't know how it's going to happen, but somewhere I'll just end up cooking because I love cooking. I cannot tell you how therapeutic I find it.
I think I'm the same. I love cooking as well, and I think the biggest thing I'd probably tell anyone when starting a business is obviously do your passion, as I've said to so many people. And I guess that's probably what you would also say, because look where your passion led you, right?
Yeah. Well, if you do what you love, then you never work a day in your life, do you?
Yeah, it's not work.
So, I mean, this is my job today, speaking to you, which is fun.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a bad job.
It's not a bad job. I did GB News, fun now. Then I'm going to an event, and then I'm going to a red carpet launch somewhere around here, wherever it is.
What would you say, are there moments, is this just your life now, or are there moments where you go, oh, someone pinch me, you know, I have to, you look around and you go, I need to be pinched right now.
I think I've got past the pinching bit, because it's reality. It is reality. I haven't won the lottery. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that might be good. Did that really happen? It happens because it's planned. It's not easy. Look, running business today is not easy. And don't let anyone tell you it is. I mean, you know, there are amazing businesses around here, and whether it's technology or whatever it is, you know. And yes, there's been, you know, but these are 0.00001% of companies, you know. Running a business is not easy. The regulations, the stipulations, the red tape is just constant. Just being what I said today, just being careful how you say things, how you promote things. Social media is so much pressure on all of us. But even to just write, just be careful what you write, be careful what you say, and just to anybody, you know, I'm careful what I send to my wife. Not because
now you have to be constantly imagine that you're speaking to your wife.
Well, just because you don't want to ever say anything, because it's there forever, you know.
Yeah.
And I hope we're together forever. But if you go and say something stupid, so it's a pressure on everybody, and you can do something stupid, and somebody can capture that moment. So business is tough to run. So no, I don't think there's any did it all. You know, I mean, getting an MBE was amazing, you know, and I'm an ambassador for the GREAT campaign as well, which is another amazing honor. And getting a doctorate in India at the University of Pune, which was the Ajenka P. Y. Patel University, which was absolutely incredible, in front of 4,000 people. That was quite something.
I mean, so your journey over the last, you know, so many years has been an uphill gradient throughout your life of building blocks, piling to what you've built today, right?
Yeah.
At what moment did you sort of turn around and go, I've not only built something which is successful, but I've built something which is extremely successful? At every stage, obviously, it's getting better and better. But yeah, at what stage?
I think I loved the early 2000s. I thought they were really fun. The early 2000s were fun. I think because life changed for everybody in business, certainly if you're my age, life changed in the 2008 banking crash. You know, that was a disaster for everybody, created by the banks, not by anybody else. And, you know, and then the banks were the toughest people to deal with.
Yeah.
But they created the mess. So I think before that it was fun. I think after that it's become much harder work. Now, we had also great times, you know, I mean, it was great times. But I just think that the real fun, you know, and maybe the pressure of your phones and everything else, you know, you're on it, aren't you? I mean, I'm addicted to my phone.
Yeah.
Look, I love Instagram, as you know. I love Instagram. I find that very therapeutic. I love putting up nice pictures and fun. But yeah, I think it's you know, living today, and I have as much. I'm about to get another award, but I won't go into that because I'm not supposed to say.
Oh, please do.
No, I can't tell you.
Oh,
No, I can't tell you.
You can't tell us the award just yet.
But
so we've got MBE. What are we going to add? Is it going to be up in title?
No. But what I say at the end of my speech is that, and my vision today is to have the World Young Chef, Young Waiter, Young Mixology, this Y brand that we've got, which we've just done a deal with Formula One. So Formula One and Young Chef, Young Waiter are together, which is incredible to have this relationship. Is that if I could create every year this world champion, so we have a world championship, so we have a world young chef, a world young waiter, and a world young mixologist. then, and that carries on, you know, like, I don't know, the Eurovision Song Contest or the Olympics or something. We call it the Young Hospitality Olympics.
So you want to build a legacy?
I think that would be nice. And
Young
to have
chef,
something.
young waiter to be running 100 years in the future and then remember that it was you who created
That's right.
it.
That would be nice. I think that would be if I think of it. So when I say,
and at that moment you can go, this is where I realised I built something.
100 years time, I'll say. But so when I say in my speech that will happen in about 3 weeks' time, that I've really enjoyed doing this, but we've only just begun, then I've still got a lot to do. So I still have a lot to do, and I think that if you have that mentality.
I hope you don't mind me asking this, Bob. Do you mind if I ask your age?
No, I don't mind you asking my age. Do you know how old I am? I don't know.
No, I actually don't. I would go. You look 60s.
Yeah, I am in the 60s. Yeah.
60s?
I'm 69.
69. Okay. Now, do you have any plans to retire? Because,
No.
Wow.
No.
I mean, I find that mesmerizing.
No.
We sit here today,
Yeah.
you're nearly 70 years of age, but
Yeah.
you're talking about what you're planning on building for the next 10, 20,
Yeah.
30
no,
years.
No, I don't. But what's the point? You know, what is the point?
What are you going to do otherwise?
Well, the thing is, I just do what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
Because if I'm not working, then it's tricky to retire.
Yeah.
Well, I am working, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
If I love what I do, then I'm not going to retire, because otherwise what am I going to do?
Yeah.
I'm only going to do exactly the same thing.
Exactly. Oh, honestly, it's been fantastic having you here, listening to your story. I really, really appreciate it. And I wish you the best of luck. And I can't wait to hear about your new award.
Sam, it's great. I've known you for a long time now, and you're young
10
age.
years.
10 years, is it?
I mean, when I started, I think it's a little bit shorter than that. When I started my first business,
right.
I joined your young Nth Degree group.
That's right.
And I made it was fantastic being a part of the Nth Degree and going along that journey with you. And, I think we've both seen each other go through a lot of hurdles in life and come out the other side.
Well,
so,
you're a great speaker as well.
Yeah.
You come to our lunches, and you're now older than you were then. Of course, you've got a lot more experience, but you also speak from the heart. You talked about your illness, which was really good, and you talked about the charity, and I love that. I think that's great at your young age to be now thinking of other people and helping other people. That's a lovely, lovely thing to do.
I'm meant to be running the marathon for them soon, but
God, okay.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it, to be honest. I've tried getting back on the treadmill, tried walking around a bit, and I think that's one thing people don't realize when you go through the serious health conditions is when you come out the other side and you feel like you're getting better, but then you don't realize how far away you are from being better until you're actually 100% again, because you were so close to zero.
Yeah.
When you're back at 20, 30, you're like, oh my God, I'm back to 100.
Yeah.
But it's only then when you're back at 100 that you go, oh my God, I was still so ill for those last 6 months I've been recovering.
Yeah.
And I found that very interesting to adjust because when I came out of being initially ill, I really thought I was fine. And it's now I look back on it, I was like, I really wasn't fine. Yeah.
So I finished my treatment on May the 12th, 2017, and I didn't go out to anything until September. So just because I was so frail after being zapped by this and not eating and the other thing for me, you're much younger than me. I had my illness when I was 62 or 61 or something, to get muscle back, because if you don't move for 6 months, pretty much, to get muscle back is really, really difficult.
Well, that was an interesting thing that I found. I mean, before I got ill, I reckon I was cycling 15 to 20 kilometers a day. And now I go on a treadmill and do a 30-minute walk and I struggle.
Right, yeah.
And I'm like, wow, that is a major hit. Yeah.
Do you know, I had a most amazing email from Michael Douglas, the actor, right? Married to Catherine Zeta-Jones, Michael Douglas, proper. And
as you do.
As you do. And he had tongue cancer as well.
Oh my God.
And so he said, the most important advice I can give you is when you're ill, be ill.
Yeah.
And I thought, what a simple line, isn't it? In other words, don't try and do things if you're not well. And if you're not well in what you've been through and what I went through, then just take it steady.
Yeah.
And then it's a slow recovery.
Yeah.
And you can't do things that you did before. Well, I'm a different person. I'm 2.5 stone less than I was to start with. So, my whole everything about me is a different person.
Do you reckon, how you say when you were ill, Michael Douglas, was it, who reached out?
Douglas,
He
yeah.
reached out to you. Do you reckon, because I was obviously really ill and I've been reaching out to some people involved who have been getting ill lately. Do you reckon people have the same reaction to Michael Douglas? Yeah. Oh my God, it's Sam Vanderpump.
Well, you've got many famous friends, I'm sure.
Yeah. No, it's been really a pleasure having you, Bob, and I'm really excited for this episode to come out.
Lovely. Well, thank you. It's been a pleasure. Look, you look great. I love the studio. What a great setup.
Thank you very much, Bob. Thanks for watching Filthy Rich with me, Sam Vanderpump. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more episodes and exclusive content. For this podcast, search Vanderpod on all major audio streaming platforms. See you soon.